unchecked power and the lure of revolutionary zeal. As we conclude our journey through these harrowing chapters of human history, we are left with a profound sense of sorrow for the countless lives lost, the unimaginable suffering endured. These events, though difficult to confront, serve as stark reminders of the fragility of peace, the ever-present potential for cruelty and violence that resides within humanity. Yet, amidst the darkness, we also find glimmers of hope, testaments to the resilience of the human spirit. These events remind us of the importance of vigilance, of safeguarding human rights, and of striving to create a more just and compassionate world for all. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe for more historical insights. Thanks for watching.
The history of law enforcement in the United States is riddled with moments of both triumph and tragedy. Some of the most harrowing episodes involve shootouts between law enforcement officers and dangerous criminals. These events often unfold in the blink of an eye, leaving behind a trail of casualties and unanswered questions. One such incident etched in the annals of the FBI is the 1986 Miami shootout. This confrontation left 2 agents dead and 5 wounded, serving as a stark reminder of the perils faced by those who wear the badge. Years later, the 2021 Sunrise, Florida shootout would once again plunge the nation into mourning, highlighting the ever-present dangers faced by law enforcement officers in the line of duty. The 1986 Miami shootout involved a stakeout of 2 bank robbers. It turned into a firefight that lasted minutes, but left an indelible mark on the FBI. The incident led to changes in training, equipment and tactics. It emphasized the need for better firepower and armor to protect agents in the field. Yet despite advancements in training and technology, the threat to law enforcement remains ever present. As the Sunrise shootout would tragically demonstrate, even the most routine operations can erupt into violence, underscoring the bravery and sacrifice demanded of those who serve and protect. February 2nd, 2021 dawned like any other day in Sunrise, Florida. But for 5 special agents of the FBI, it would become a day of unimaginable loss and sacrifice. Tasked with serving a federal search warrant, these agents walked into the heart of darkness. Their target, a suspected possessor of child pornography hidden within a seemingly ordinary apartment complex. The agents were unaware that their investigation would lead them into one of the deadliest ambushes in FBI history. The quiet morning air would soon be shattered by the deafening roar of gunfire. The peaceful facade of the apartment complex would be ripped apart by violence. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting long shadows across the scene, the nation would learn of the tragic events unfolding in Sunrise. The shootout would claim the lives of 2 agents and leave 3 others wounded, marking a somber day for the FBI and the nation. It would also ignite a firestorm of debate about the dangers of online child exploitation and the risks faced by those who combat it. The agents who arrived at the Sunrise apartment complex were on the front lines of a battle against one of the most heinous crimes imaginable: child exploitation. The internet, for all its benefits, has become a breeding ground for the creation and distribution of child sexual abuse material. Predators lurk in the shadows of the digital world, exploiting the innocent and vulnerable. The FBI plays a crucial role in investigating and apprehending these criminals, working tirelessly to rescue victims and bring perpetrators to justice. The agents who lost their lives in Sunrise were dedicated to protecting the most vulnerable members of society. They understood the devastating impact of child exploitation. They knew that behind every image and video lies a real child who has suffered unimaginable abuse. Their mission that day was to gather evidence against an individual suspected of fueling this horrific industry. Their courage and sacrifice serve as a stark reminder of the importance of combating child exploitation in all its forms. It is a battle that requires constant vigilance, relentless investigation, and unwavering dedication from law enforcement agencies worldwide. The federal search warrant was clear. Agents were authorized to enter the suspect's apartment and search for evidence related to the possession and distribution of child pornography. Such warrants are not issued lightly. They are the result of meticulous investigative work, often involving the analysis of online activity, digital footprints, and other intelligence. In the Sunrise case, agents had gathered sufficient probable cause to convince a judge that evidence of a crime would likely be found within the apartment. Armed with this legal authority, the agents approached the apartment door. They were prepared for a range of possibilities. Experience had taught them that even seemingly routine warrant executions could quickly turn dangerous. They announced their presence, identifying themselves as FBI agents and stating their purpose. What they couldn't have known was that the suspect, David Lee Huber, was waiting on the other side. He was armed and ready to unleash a torrent of violence that would have devastating consequences. Section 5. Ambush, a hail of gunfire. As the agents entered the apartment, they were met with immediate and overwhelming gunfire. Huber, concealed within, had transformed his home into a deadly trap. He lay in wait, his finger on the trigger, ready to spring his ambush. The agents, caught off guard, found themselves in a desperate fight for their lives. Bullets ripped through the air, shattering the morning calm and transforming the apartment complex into a war zone. The agents, though surprised, reacted with the training and courage instilled in them. They returned fire, seeking to neutralize the threat and protect themselves and their colleagues, but the damage was swift and severe. 2 agents, Special Agents Daniel Alfin and Laura Schwarzenberger, were fatally wounded. 3 others sustained injuries, their bodies bearing the scars of that horrific day. The shootout, though brief, was intensely violent, a stark reminder of the deadly risks faced by law enforcement officers every time they don their uniforms. Section 6. The Face of Evil, David Lee Huber. In the aftermath of the shootout, as investigators pieced together the events of that tragic day, the name David Lee Huber emerged as the perpetrator of this horrific act of violence. Huber, a 55-year-old man, was no stranger to darkness. His past was littered with red flags, including a history of mental health issues and a documented fascination with violence. He had a documented history of making threats and exhibiting erratic behavior. Huber's online activity painted a disturbing picture. He frequented websites and forums known to harbor extremists and individuals with violent ideologies. His digital footprint revealed a descent into a world of hate, violence, and depravity. While the exact motivations behind his actions may never be fully understood, it is clear that Huber was a deeply troubled individual consumed by darkness. His decision to arm himself and open fire on law enforcement officers was a final act of cowardice and hatred, one that would forever link his name to the tragedy in Sunrise. Section 7. National Mourning and Outrage. News of the shootout sent shockwaves across the nation. Flags were lowered to half-mast as Americans mourned the loss of 2 dedicated public servants. President Joe Biden expressed his condolences to the families of the fallen agents, praising their courage and sacrifice. He ordered flags to be flown at half-staff at the White House and all public buildings. He called for a moment of national unity and reflection, urging Americans to honor the service and sacrifice of law enforcement officers who put their lives on the line every day. FBI Director Christopher A. Wray issued a statement expressing his profound sadness and vowing to honor the memories of the fallen agents by continuing their mission to protect the American people. The FBI community, a tight-knit brotherhood forged in service and sacrifice, grieved the loss of 2 of their own. The Sunrise shootout served as a stark reminder of the dangers inherent in their profession, a profession that demands unwavering courage and a willingness to confront evil head-on. The nation mourned alongside the families, friends and colleagues of the fallen, united in grief and gratitude for their service. Section 8. Scars on the Badge, the Aftermath. The Sunrise shootout left an indelible mark on the FBI. In the wake of the tragedy, the Bureau launched a comprehensive review of its tactical operations, training protocols and equipment. The goal to identify any potential shortcomings and implement changes to better protect agents in the field. The FBI also provided counseling and support services to the agents involved in the shootout, recognizing the psychological toll of such traumatic events. Beyond the immediate impact on the FBI, the Sunrise shootout sparked a broader conversation about the dangers of online child exploitation. Lawmakers, law enforcement officials, and child advocacy groups renewed calls for increased resources to combat this growing epidemic. The tragedy served as a stark reminder of the hidden victims of online predators and the importance of vigilance, education, and proactive law enforcement efforts to protect children from harm. Section 9. Remembering the Fallen, Forging Ahead. The Sunrise, Florida shootout stands as a grim reminder of the risks faced by those who dedicate their lives to protecting others. Special Agents Daniel Alfin and Laura Schwarzenberger made the ultimate sacrifice while serving their country. Their deaths are a profound loss to their families, the FBI, and the nation. It is essential to remember their service, their courage, and their unwavering dedication to justice. In the face of tragedy, it is human nature to question, to search for meaning in the midst of senseless violence. While we may never have all the answers, we can honor the memories of those lost by continuing their mission. We can support law enforcement officers who put their lives on the line every day. We can work to create a safer world for our children. And we can never forget the sacrifices made by those who gave their all. William Matix and Michael Platt were career criminals. Their rap sheet was long, filled with armed robbery, assault, and even murder. The FBI had been watching them for months. They were suspected of robbing banks and armored cars across the Miami area. Matix, a former soldier, was considered the more dangerous of the two. He was known for his ruthlessness and lack of hesitation when using violence. Platt, while less experienced, was equally unpredictable and volatile. The pair had perfected their criminal enterprise. They were quick, efficient, and left few witnesses. Their brazen disregard for the law made them a top priority for law enforcement. The FBI was determined to bring them to justice. But Matix and Platt were cunning adversaries. They were always one step ahead, always prepared to escalate the situation if cornered. The FBI knew they needed a solid plan to apprehend the duo. This was not a simple case of petty theft. These were hardened criminals who would not go down without a fight. The agents involved knew they were dealing with dangerous individuals, but none could have predicted the level of violence that would unfold on that fateful day in April. April 11, 1986 started like any other day in Miami. The sun was shining, the air was thick with humidity. Unbeknownst to the public, a team of FBI agents was preparing for a confrontation that would change everything. Special Agents Ben Grogan and Jerry Dove were among the team tasked with tracking Matix and Platt. Both were highly decorated agents with years of experience. The agents had been following the suspects for days, waiting for the right moment to make their move. They knew Matix and Platt were armed and dangerous, so they proceeded with extreme caution. The tension was palpable as the agents waited in their unmarked cars, their eyes glued to the suspect's vehicle. Every rustle of leaves, every passing car sent a jolt of adrenaline through their veins. The plan was simple: tail the suspects, wait for them to slip up, and apprehend them when the opportunity arose. However, Matix and Platt were not known for making things easy. The agents knew this was a high-risk operation, but they were committed to bringing the criminals to justice. They were prepared to risk their lives to uphold the law and protect the public. The agents followed Matix and Platt as they drove through the suburban streets of Miami. The atmosphere inside the FBI vehicles was tense, every agent alert and ready. They knew this was a critical moment. One wrong move could have deadly consequences. The suspects, seemingly oblivious to the danger lurking behind them, continued their drive. As Matix and Platt's car slowed to turn onto a quiet street, the agents decided to move in. They had to act quickly and decisively to control the situation. Several unmarked FBI cars moved to box in the suspect's vehicle, hoping to take them by surprise. The element of surprise was crucial. The agents needed to gain control before Matix and Platt could react. The agents, adrenaline pumping, jumped out of their vehicles, weapons drawn, shouting commands for the suspects to surrender. They had hoped for a peaceful resolution, but that hope was quickly dashed as the situation escalated in the blink of an eye. Matix and Platt, trapped and desperate, were not about to go down without a fight. Section 4. A firefight erupts, shots fired, lives lost. The peace of that sunny Miami morning was shattered by the deafening roar of gunfire. Matix and Platt, true to their nature, opened fire on the surrounding agents. The once quiet street transformed into a chaotic battleground as bullets flew through the air. The agents, caught off guard but highly trained, returned fire, seeking cover behind their vehicles. The air was thick with the smell of gunpowder and the sound of shattering glass. Each agent fought with the courage and determination instilled in them through years of training. However, the suspects, armed with superior firepower, gained the upper hand in the initial moments of the shootout. They unleashed a barrage of bullets, pinning down the agents and preventing them from returning fire effectively. Tragically, amidst the chaos and confusion, two agents, Special Agent Ben Grogan and Special Agent Jerry Dove, were struck down by the hail of bullets. Their fellow agents, heartbroken but resolute, continued to fight back, determined to neutralize the threat and honor the sacrifice of their fallen comrades. The shootout raged on, a desperate struggle for survival against ruthless criminals. Section 5. The aftermath. A nation mourns, the FBI re-evaluates. The 1986 FBI Miami shootout sent shockwaves across the nation. The image of two fallen agents, slain in the line of duty, served as a stark reminder of the dangers faced by law enforcement officers every day. The shootout, lasting only 4 minutes, had resulted in the deaths of 2 agents and the wounding of 5 others. It was a devastating loss for the FBI, and a tragedy that left an indelible mark on the Bureau's history. The shootout forced the FBI to confront a harsh reality. Their standard-issue revolvers and semi-automatic pistols were outmatched by the superior firepower wielded by criminals like Matix and Platt. This realization led to a complete overhaul of the FBI's weapons policies and training protocols. The Bureau recognized the urgent need to equip its agents with the tools and training necessary to face the evolving landscape of criminal activity. The FBI immediately began phasing out revolvers in favor of semi-automatic pistols with higher magazine capacities. They also implemented more rigorous firearms training, emphasizing tactical maneuvers and close-quarters combat. The tragic events in Miami served as a catalyst for change, prompting the FBI to prioritize the safety and preparedness of its agents facing increasingly dangerous situations. The year is 9 AD. The place, the untamed depths of Germania, a land shrouded in mystery and danger. Roman legions, those conquerors of the known world, marched beneath the gloomy canopy, their footsteps echoing through the ancient woods. They carried with them their eagle standards, symbols of unmatched might and the pride of Rome. Their destination, the Rhine, the frontier of an empire hungry for more, ever eager to expand its borders. At their head rode Publius Quinctilius Varus, a seasoned general confident in Roman invincibility, his eyes scanning the horizon. He had pacified regions before, bringing rebellious territories under Roman control. Germania would be no different, or so he believed, or so he thought. The forest whispered around them, a symphony of rustling leaves and unseen creatures, creating an eerie atmosphere. The legions marched in disciplined ranks, the rhythmic clang of their armor a stark counterpoint to the wildness around them, a testament to their training and discipline. They were the bringers of civilization, here to impose order on the barbarian wilds, to spread the influence of Rome. But the forest held secrets, and danger lurked in its shadows, unseen and unpredictable. The legions marched on, unaware of the fate that awaited them, oblivious to the perils that lay ahead. The dense foliage seemed to close in around them, as if the forest itself was conspiring against the invaders. Each step forward brought them deeper into the unknown, further from the safety of their empire. The air grew thick with tension, the soldiers' breaths heavy with anticipation and unease. They were on a path that would lead them into history, but not in the way they had envisioned. Among the Roman auxiliaries, a young nobleman named Arminius rode with a calm exterior, his eyes scanning the horizon with a practiced ease. He was a figure of authority and respect among his peers, a testament to his dual heritage. Born a prince of the Cherusci tribe, he had been taken as a hostage to Rome in his youth. This was a common practice by the Romans, a way to ensure the loyalty of the tribal leaders by holding their heirs. There, he received a Roman education, learned their military tactics, and even earned Roman citizenship. He was trained in the art of war, schooled in Roman philosophy, and immersed in their culture, becoming a bridge between two worlds. He was a living testament to the Roman belief in their civilizing mission, a barbarian molded into a tool of the empire. The Romans prided themselves on their ability to transform and assimilate those they conquered. But beneath the veneer of Romanization, Arminius harbored a secret. His heart still beat with the fierce independence of his people, and he never forgot his roots. He had witnessed firsthand the Roman thirst for conquest, their ruthlessness in crushing those who resisted. The brutality of the Roman legions left a lasting impression on him, fueling a growing resentment. He had seen the impact of Roman rule on his people, the erosion of their traditions and their freedom. The once proud and free tribes were now subjugated, their way of life slowly being erased. A plan began to form in his mind, a daring gamble to use his intimate knowledge of Roman tactics against them. He knew the strengths and weaknesses of the Roman military, and he intended to exploit them. He would play the role of the loyal auxiliary, all the while plotting their downfall. Arminius was determined to free his people, to restore their honor and independence, even if it meant betraying the empire that had shaped him. As the legions pressed deeper into the forest, the terrain grew more treacherous. The air was thick with humidity and the buzzing of insects. The Romans, accustomed to open battlefields, found themselves hampered by the dense undergrowth. Their formation, so formidable in the open, began to lose its cohesion. Arminius, using his knowledge of the local tribes, sowed seeds of dissent among them. He spoke of Roman oppression, of their disregard for the sacred groves and the ancient ways. He painted a picture of a Germania free from Roman rule, where the tribes would once again be masters of their own destiny. His words fell on fertile ground. The Germanic tribes, though often at odds with each other, were united in their resentment of Roman encroachment. A storm was brewing, with Arminius at its heart. The legions entered the Teutoburg forest, a place of dark legend and ancient trees. The forest was known for its treacherous terrain and the many myths that surrounded it. Roman soldiers, clad in their armor, marched cautiously, their senses heightened by the ominous atmosphere. It was a place where the sun struggled to penetrate the dense canopy, casting long, eerie shadows. The thick foliage above created a perpetual twilight, making it difficult to see far ahead. Every rustle of leaves and snap of a twig seemed amplified in the oppressive silence. The air was heavy with the scent of damp earth and decay. The ground was soft and uneven, covered in a thick layer of decaying leaves and moss. The soldiers' boots sank slightly with each step, adding to their unease. It was here in this primeval forest that Arminius chose to spring his trap. Arminius, the Germanic tribes, had once served in the Roman army and knew their tactics well. He used this knowledge to devise a cunning plan. Under the pretense of quelling a local uprising, he had lured Varus and his legions deep into the heart of the forest. Varus, confident in his mission, was unaware of the deadly ambush that awaited him and his men. The attack came without warning. The Germanic warriors, hidden in the dense underbrush, launched their assault with ferocity. The Romans, taken by surprise, struggled to form a defensive line. A storm of javelins and axes rained down from the dense undergrowth, catching the Romans completely off guard. The projectiles found their marks with deadly accuracy, causing chaos and confusion among the ranks. The legions, strung out in a long column by the narrow forest paths, were easy targets. Their formation, ideal for open battlefields, was a liability in the confined space of the forest. Panic rippled through their ranks as the forest, once eerily silent, erupted in the terrifying war cries of the Germanic tribes. The Romans, disoriented and outnumbered, faced a relentless onslaught from all sides, sealing their fate in the dark heart of Teutoburg. The Roman legions, renowned for their discipline and training, found themselves outmaneuvered. The Germanic warriors, masters of their terrain, attacked in swift, deadly waves, melting back into the forest only to reappear elsewhere. The legions, hampered by their heavy armor and equipment, were ill-suited for this kind of warfare. The forest floor became a scene of unimaginable carnage. The air was thick with the stench of blood and the screams of the dying. The once proud legions were being systematically butchered, their formations shattered, their discipline crumbling. The element of surprise, the terrain, and the ferocity of the Germanic attack had turned the tide against them. The Roman war machine had met its match. Section 6, Varus falls, the eagle is dashed to the mud. Seeing the battle was lost, Varus, the once proud Roman general, chose to fall on his sword rather than be captured. His death, a final act of defiance, marked the complete and utter defeat of the Roman legions. The eagle standards, symbols of Roman might, lay broken and muddied, trophies for the victorious Germanic tribes. The Battle of Teutoburg Forest was a disaster of unprecedented proportions for Rome. 3 entire legions, the backbone of Roman power, had been annihilated. The defeat sent shockwaves through the empire, shattering the aura of Roman invincibility. The Rhine, once envisioned as a stepping stone to further conquest, now became a defensive barrier, marking the limit of Roman ambition in this part of the world. Section 7. The aftershock Rome reels, Germania rejoices. News of the defeat reached Rome like a thunderbolt, throwing the city into turmoil. The Emperor Augustus, upon hearing of the disaster, was said to have wandered his palace, banging his head against the walls and crying out, "Quintilius Varus, give me back my legions!" The defeat had profound consequences for Roman policy. The dream of conquering Germania was abandoned, and the empire adopted a more cautious approach to expansion. The defeat marked a turning point in Roman history, a stark reminder that even the mightiest empires could bleed. In Germania, the victory at Teutoburg Forest resonated for centuries. It became a symbol of Germanic resistance to Roman rule, a rallying cry for those who sought to maintain their independence. Section 8. Arminius, from traitor to liberator. Arminius, the architect of the Roman defeat, became a legend among the Germanic tribes. His name, once synonymous with treachery in the eyes of Rome, became a symbol of liberation for his people. He had used his intimate knowledge of Roman tactics and psychology to outwit and defeat them. His victory ensured that Germania would remain free from Roman rule, preserving the unique cultures and traditions of its people. He is remembered as a brilliant military strategist and a cunning tactician, a man who dared to challenge the might of Rome and emerged victorious. Section 9. A Forest's Legacy, the Empire's Limits. The Battle of Teutoburg Forest stands as a testament to the human cost of conquest and the resilience of those who fight for their freedom. It serves as a reminder that even the most powerful empires can be humbled, and that the desire for freedom can inspire even the most unlikely of victories. The forest, once a silent witness to the clash of civilizations, stands as a memorial to the thousands there. It is a place where the past whispers these, a reminder of the enduring power of freedom, limits of empire. The year is 9 AD. Deep within the the impenetrable Teutoburg forest, a storm is brewing, but no ordinary storm of rain and wind. This is a tempest of betrayal, of Roman blood about to be spilled. This is the Battle of Teutoburg Forest, a conflict that would forever alter the course of Roman history. It is a tale of arrogance and miscalculation, of cunning and barbarity, a stark reminder even the mightiest empires can crumble in the face of unforeseen adversity. The Roman Empire, under the reign of Emperor Augustus, stood at the zenith of its power. Its legions, seemingly invincible, had conquered vast swathes of land, from the sun-baked deserts of Africa to the rugged hills of Britannia. But in the untamed wilds of Germania, a dangerous game was afoot. The Germanic tribe, considered barbarians by the Romans, were about to deliver a blow that would shake the foundations of the Roman world. The legendary Roman general had dreamt of conquering Germany and extending Rome's river. He had tasted victory against the Germanic tribes in battle, but ultimately his ambition in Germania remained unrealized. It fell to his successor, the shrewd and calculating Augustus, to complete what Caesar had started. Augustus, eager to secure the empire's northern frontier and expand its tax base, initiated a campaign of conquest and assimilation in Germania. Roman forts and settlements sprang up along the Rhine River, serving as outposts of civilization in the barbarian wilderness. The region west of the Rhine was formally annexed and christened Germania Inferior, a testament to Rome's growing influence. To govern this newly acquired territory, Augustus appointed Publius Quinctilius Varus, a seasoned general and close confidant. Varus, a stern and unyielding figure, was tasked with bringing law and order to the unruly Germanic tribes. He believed firmly in the superiority of Roman civilization and sought to impose Roman customs and governance on conquered peoples. However, Varus's heavy-handed approach, characterized by excessive taxation and harsh punishments, sowed the seeds of resentment among the Germanic tribes. They chafed under Roman rule, yearning for their independence. What Varus failed to realize was that his every action was pushing the Germanic tribes closer to the brink of rebellion. Among the Germanic nobles serving in the Roman auxiliary forces, a young man named Arminius. A skilled warrior and a shrewd tactician, Arminius had spent his youth as a hostage in Rome, where he received a Roman military education. He knew the Roman way of war, its strengths, and most importantly, its weaknesses. Unbeknownst to Varus, Arminius harbored a deep hatred for Rome and a burning desire to liberate his people from Roman oppression. Content brewing among the Germanic tribes, and recognized a golden opportunity to strike a decisive blow against his Roman overlords. Cunning and guile, Arminius ingratiated himself with Varus, becoming a trusted advisor. He whispered tales of a brewing rebellion among the Germanic tribes further east, urging Varus to march his legions deeper into Germania to quell the uprising. Varus, arrogant and swayed by Arminius's treacherous counsel, took the bait. He assembled 3 Roman legions along with their families and a baggage train and marched eastward into the heart of Germania. Little did he know that he was walking his men into a carefully orchestrated trap. Scariest, the legions ambushed. As Varus's legions snaked their way through the dense undergrowth of the Teutoburg forest, the Germanic warriors, led by Arminius, lay in wait. They had chosen the battlefield with care, a narrow defile where the dense trees and treacherous terrain would negate the Roman legion's superior numbers and discipline. The attack came suddenly and without warning. A hail of javelins rained down from the trees, followed by a ferocious onslaught from Germanic warriors wielding swords and axes. Roman legions, caught off guard and hampered by their heavy equipment, to form a cohesive defense. 3 eagles lost, the devastation of defeat. For 3 days and nights the battle raged. The Romans, outnumbered and outmaneuvered with the courage born of desperation. But the outcome was never in doubt. The Germanic warriors, fighting for their freedom and fueled by a thirst for vengeance, overwhelmed the Roman legions. Varus, realizing the full extent of his folly and facing certain defeat, took his own life rather than be captured by the enemy. His legions were utterly destroyed, their eagle standards captured and displayed as trophies of war. Berg Forest was a catastrophic defeat for Rome, a stain on its military prestige that would never be forgotten.